Cancer, this is your astrological report for the month of June 2025, and this is the start of a good year for you because Jupiter will be moving into your first house and it will be moving into the sign of Cancer, which is in its exaltation. Jupiter loves to be in Cancer. Jupiter in Cancer and in your first house is going to spark a lot of initiations, new ventures, new beginnings, initiating new beginnings that are in alignment with your calling, your dharma, your true purpose. And it's always, and in your first house, it's going to have a lot to do with you and your personality and your identity, you becoming more sort of publicly known or recognized. It's expanding your image. And you can gain weight with Jupiter in the first house, so one is good to be cautious for that. But it will be a year where you become a bigger and greater version of who you are and more in alignment with the life path that you find most fulfilling, truly fulfilling. So let's go ahead and share the chart here and look at things for Cancer. Let's get the chart on your house here. Um, oops, I went too far. Um, So there it is, Cancer. Your first house in the with Jupiter has been for a year in your 12th house. You may have traveled in the year, or you have really been studying and learning a lot about spirituality, perhaps astrology, about other cultures, or just taking time to yourself and focus on learning on a skill or a craft or college, university, going somewhere. You could have been in university. That the 12th house can be college. So, but basically, really expanding your knowledge and information. And now, when that Jupiter moves into your first house, giving you a boost of confidence, giving you a lot of belief in yourself, giving you the oomph to Jupiter's like a bazooka of energy, giving you some energy to initiate new beginnings and expand who you are in the world and make yourself sort of more recognized. And perhaps for some, if your chart is designed that way, you become publicly known because you're going to have Saturn in your 10th house, where you initiate a very long-term new career prospect and work very hard, but opportunities are coming in and you become very much more respected or regarded in your career, and or you become more serious about your career and you have to really tune into it and you have to really put a lot of effort into making sure that you're setting your career up for the long haul and that you know what you're doing because you've had Saturn in your ninth house. So you would have been studying and learning again with Jupiter in your 12th house, a lot of learning and expanding your knowledge. And Saturn would in your ninth house would have been making you work hard to know the right things to being academically correct, if you want to say. So you've been working hard to align your knowledge with Saturnian structural long-term truth, because the ninth house is always going to be the truth. So learning the real truth around, for instance, astrology. I've been studying the origins of astrology, the foundations of astrology. Saturn in the ninth house. I love it. So, Jupiter. So yeah, Venus is going to move into your 11th house, which is going to make your life suddenly very social, meeting new people that bring you financial opportunities, word of mouth, social media may start increasing better. What else? And that's going to be there for a month. And then when Venus hits that Uranus point at the end of the month, right, actually as July, early July, there is a sudden spark of success or blessings or financial upgrade or a meeting of somebody, meeting your true person, a romantic liaison that suddenly out of the blue, surprising. Um, but Venus in your 11th house is going to be fabulous. I'm Cancer rising. I've already experienced like a lot. Venus isn't even quite there yet, but I've had like 5 texts from people today for lunch, gathering and having lunch. So it's like a sudden explosion of socially engaging because Venus has been really under the radar in the last 2 months when it was in Pisces in retrograde next to Saturn, under the shadow of Saturn. And then in Aries, it was just like focused on itself. But now it's out ready to mingle. There's a word, what is it? Mingle, and there's another word for that. But anyway, that's a really positive, great house to have Venus in Taurus. So what else? So we've got the Mercury's also going to hit. Oh, Mercury's going to hit this Jupiter right here, right before it moves into your first house, and it's going to be squaring Neptune and Saturn. So it could be bad news because it's in your 12th house. There could be a loss of some sort, or also, let's say, adjustment, information that makes you have to adjust your path. You could suddenly travel. Suddenly you need to travel and you have to make adjustments and arrangements. But this is a big choice. Jupiter and Mercury meet every year, so you don't want to get too excited about that. But it's meeting while it's squaring Saturn, right before it's going to move into Jupiter and together, Jupiter and Mercury are going to move together into the sign of Cancer, squaring Saturn. So there's adjustment. It could be bad news. There could be a loss. There could be a tax bill. There could be a problem. But obstacles and adjustments and arrangements need to be made. But once, and plus Jupiter is combust there, so we're not seeing the positive results right away. But there, after that hump, the month opens up. Mid-June, we're really perhaps traveling and things are flowing. And plus, don't forget, we've got this Venus sextiling Jupiter at the beginning of the month, which is beautiful because there's a flow of harmony between relationships, collaboratives, resolutions to arguments or conflicts, peaceful resolves, um, and also perhaps meeting a person, perhaps suddenly meeting your true divine person because of that Jupiter and Venus. It can be, Jupiter is often the husband and Venus is love and romance. So there's a connection, a flow to meet some and past life connection. So that's really great. You might meet them on social media, social network. So I'm following my notes here. We do have a wonderful full moon in Sagittarius, which is in your sixth house. And this full moon does square the nodes, so we are rapidly releasing the past. We are excited and inspired. This full moon is so blessed. We aren't going to see a lot of those blessings right away because of the combustion of Jupiter and the sun and squaring Saturn. But this is a full moon of hope, inspiration, purpose, truth, love, wisdom, travel, expansion of our knowledge, wisdom, freedom of the mind, fun, inspired, impulsive travel, inspired, lucky opportunities opening up, meeting other cultures, exploring other cultural events, like going to festivals or things. If it's hitting in your 12th house, if you have Sagittarius over your 12th house, that would make you Capricorn. You go to a festival, you suddenly travel. So anyway, okay, so that's that full moon in Sagittarius. Then we have Mars, which by the way is in your sixth house. So the full moon in your sixth house is not the easiest full moon actually to have in your sixth house. You may suddenly have to shift something that you're doing on a day to day. You're going to discover is not really helping you, isn't good for you, like some kind of a diet or a habit or a work routine. And because it's squaring the South Node in Virgo, there's some sort of pattern or addiction, or I'm trying to think of something I'm going to be giving up if there's anything. Well, I'm just massively releasing clutter and just going real minimal. And that's really South Node Virgo. But with a full moon, I'm sorry, with the that full moon squaring the nodes in the South Node in your third house, cancers are letting go of arguing, conflicting, talking so much, or just basically like because of the Sagittarius full moon there could be that could be a disruptive full moon with some sort of belief clashes because Sagittarius, that's very Sagittarius. So with the South Node there in Virgo in the third house, there's a real release and letting go. And with the North Node in the ninth house, it's really sort of like, okay, if you don't agree and you don't believe, I let it go. But I'm going to continue studying or exploring this new belief or this new philosophy because I've gotten the North Node in my ninth house where I'm exploring new beliefs and new horizons in spirituality or higher consciousness or travel or cultures or just mastery, like getting a master's degree or studying in school. So anyway, travel again, full moon Sagittarius, work, taking some kind of a work opportunity has you go, you get an invitation to travel somewhere. Um, so then we've got the new moon in Cancer on the, did I do Venus Uranus? Yes, I did do Venus Uranus, and we got these two big conjunctions, which is so interesting Venus, Uranus, and then Jupiter, Mercury. And those are really actually very positive. So those are sort of surprising big moments in the month. And that Jupiter, Mercury happens here on the 8th or 7th, and then Uranus, Venus happens on the 30th, the end of the month. Anyway, so then we've got this new moon. Well, the sun, of course, moves into your house along with Jupiter and Mercury. Mercury is going to move into Cancer on that 8th. And then we've got Mars moves into Virgo. Oh, Mars moves into your third house, by the way, in on the blah 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 on the 17th, making you again very busy, energy, short distance travel, perhaps media work, signing contracts, um, exercising a lot, um, organizing papers, dealing with contracts, taking, being driving around a lot, because third house is short distance travel, but I'm trying to think Mars is like movement and action and running around and things. So, conflicts. So be careful. Mars in the third house can create conflicts and arguments with people a lot. And then when it meets that south node there, Cancers are going to never do that again. They're like, I'm done. It's like, if you don't believe me, that's fine. All right. So then we've got that new moon Cancer on 625, 4 degrees in your first house, perhaps new family, new home. Again, you've had the eclipses in your fourth house. Well, yeah, last year with the Libra, so an Aries set of eclipses. So maybe there's move. Also, like Saturn in your 10th can create. I haven't even really talked about Saturn in your 10th. I forgot about that. Oh, I think I did actually. Serious career. Neptune, I didn't talk about. So Neptune is creating a big dream cycle, a new cycle, a big new beginning with that Saturn there. Where it's a dream destiny it's almost hard to see where we're headed in these new beginnings. It's such a big dream. It seems so impossible to reach it, but we're going to with Saturn there. So this big dream that we're reaching for, somehow we actually can see the steps towards that with that Saturn there. And I did forget to talk about that Chiron, trying sextiling Jupiter and Mercury too. So we're getting some really positive communication with that conjunction in relationships and uh, conflict resolution. So I already kind of talked about that. But anyway, so new moon in your first house, new beginnings. This new moon, let's get to that new moon. So that's going to be the sun there at 4 degrees. Um, so this new moon is, there it is. It squares Saturn, but otherwise the moon itself squaring Saturn would indicate again that these new beginnings do not sort of go flying out of the gate, that they just are planned, and these new beginnings are structures that we're seeing building. And so we're taking it slow, but these are inspired new beginnings, exciting new beginnings, and the dream beginnings. And like, if you're going to use a metaphor of building a house, I mean, you're literally just putting down the rock foundation. So, and it takes time, and you have to do it right, and you have to make sure, and you have to pick them back up and move them around if they're not right. That's why Saturn slows you down. Otherwise, you end up having to do that a lot. So then it's also sextiling Saturn in that third house for you, which makes it very, again, some sort of media project could begin with Mars in your third house too. I forget about that. There could be a media writing project or a, social media networking thing, but then with the new beginning there, some kind of an invitation to perhaps to co-collaborate with other influencers, or to do a blog, or to write, to collaborate in a writing project of some sort. But the month of June in general looks really fabulous for uh, Cancer, other than that square other than this square to Saturn. So something is being blocked. So you take it more seriously. So you take your work more seriously. new with that Jupiter initiatives. You're not just taking new initiatives that are fun and exciting and it expanding and you believe in it and you feel confident in all this. This is Saturn going, no, you're going to have to take this very seriously and do what it takes and do some serious learning or knowledge or preparations or strategizing and take this seriously so this works. So you're not just because Jupiter can be in Jupiter is a Sagittarius energy, which can be impulsive, fire energy. So, and it's very easily expanding. So we could easily expand in the wrong way, big, without that Saturn square. So dreams coming true for Cancers in that 10th house with that Neptune there, setting you up so that your dreams can come true in the way that your soul, your higher self, dreams for it to come true. And Saturn is just making you do what you don't want to do, but what we have to do for that to come true. So I hope that was enjoyable, informative, and helpful. And if you would like a reading, feel free to contact me. My information is below. And have a wonderful night and week. Namaste.